The Silent Stalker. It started as a simple solo camping trip, a few days in the remote wilderness to clear her mind. Melanie had always loved the solitude of nature, the way the towering trees swallowed the sound of civilization and replaced it with the whispers of wind and rustling leaves. She parked her car at the edge of the dense forest, slung her backpack over her shoulders, and hiked deep into the woods, farther than she had ever gone before. The first day was peaceful. She set up camp by a small, clear lake, built a fire, and enjoyed the quiet. But as night fell, an unsettling feeling crept in, a sense of being watched. She dismissed it as her mind playing tricks on her. But that night, she woke to the sound of crunching leaves outside her tent. Holding her breath, she listened. A single twig snapped, then silence. Her fingers tightened around the flashlight beside her. She wanted to believe it was an animal, a deer perhaps, but something felt wrong. The footsteps had been deliberate, slow, as if whoever or whatever was out there didn't want to be noticed. Morning came, and with it a decision. She had planned to stay longer, but a deep unease had settled in her bones. She packed her gear quickly and started back toward her car. The woods felt different now, the trees looming, the air thick and suffocating. Then she saw them, footprints in the damp soil alongside hers. Not animal tracks, human, and they hadn't been there before. A shiver crawled up her spine. She wasn't alone. Someone had been watching her, following her. She picked up her pace, heart hammering in her chest. Every so often she glanced back, but there was nothing. Just trees, stretching endlessly in every direction. Hours passed. The trail should have led her back by now, but it didn't. Her stomach twisted. She had taken this path before, she knew it well. But somehow the landscape had changed, as if the forest itself had conspired against her, leading her deeper instead of out. The second night fell, and she had no choice but to set up camp again. She built no fire, wanting to remain unseen. Then, just before dawn, she heard it again. Closer this time. Breathing. She bolted upright, pulse hammering. The fabric of the tent shifted ever so slightly. Something or someone was touching it. She couldn't scream, couldn't move. Then, just as suddenly, the presence retreated, footsteps crunching away into the woods. Melanie knew she couldn't stay another night. At first light, she ran. No pacing herself, no stopping to rest, just running. The forest blurred around her, shadows twisting and shifting, branches clawing at her clothes. She stumbled, fell, scrambled up again. Then she saw it. A figure just standing between the trees ahead, watching. She gasped, taking a step back. The figure didn't move, didn't speak, just stared. No eyes, no features, just a dark silhouette against the morning mist. And then it took a step toward her. Melanie turned and sprinted in the opposite direction. She didn't look back. She didn't dare. All she could hear was her own ragged breathing and the pounding of her heart. And behind it, barely audible but there, footsteps, matching hers. By the time she stumbled into the clearing where her car was parked, she was sobbing. The forest spit her out as suddenly as it had swallowed her. She threw open the car door, hands shaking so badly she could barely grip the keys. The engine roared to life, and she peeled out onto the dirt road, not daring to look in the rearview mirror. It wasn't until she was miles away, civilization returning in road signs and gas stations, that she finally allowed herself to breathe. But even then, a part of her knew she had never been alone in those woods, and whoever had been watching her might not have stayed behind.